back end. What are some attractive qualities that you've seen from Kulak?
Well, obviously we saw a lot of them last year being in the Canadian division. Mobility, very dependable, can move the puck. And, obviously I was looking for another defenseman, preferably left defense, because, we got three on the right that play regular, and Russell can slide over. And if Broberg gets healthy here, we're not sure how long he's out, but hopefully it's just 2-3 weeks. He can play right, so we were looking for a left shot defenseman. And there wasn't a lot on the market, and we're fortunate, we're happy to get one.
Your second deal of the day, Derick Brassard, obviously gives you some experience, closing in on 940 games in the NHL, but 117 playoff games and some success in the playoffs too.
Yeah.
How big of a factor was that?
Well, first off, on Brett Kulak, obviously Gully knows him good from his days in Calgary, and then Tyler Wright. He was in Columbus many years ago when Derick Brassard was there, so he's known Derick since he's been 18 years of age. And so in the Montreal deal, obviously we traded Lagesson. They ate 50% salary, and then Philadelphia also ate 50% salary. I think we spent $610,000 or $612,000 of cap space today. We were tight coming into today, so Brassard can play left wing, he can play center. He's, like you said, he's had a good playoff resume, and gives us more depth as we push to try to qualify for a playoff spot.
Your thoughts today? Did you even think there was going to be a goalie there for you? For instance, was there even remotely a thought on that, or were you pretty much thinking lefty and go from there?
I guess I think when both goalies are healthy, I'm comfortable with our goaltending. It's been over 2.5 years. I think that the goaltending has been really designed so that they're sort of 1A and 1B. I just said to you, I think we've added $612,000 of cap space, and we are snuggled within 1,000 or two. We've got room to kind of call up one player, just if we need to call up, obviously, if you have an injury, whether it's a goalie or one of those forwards or defensemen down there. So we didn't have a lot of space, and I guess from me, I'm comfortable that when we've got the tandem together, that they give us good goaltending.
Okay, and on Kulak, did you think that you said there wasn't many lefty out there? Was there a particular kind you wanted? Were you looking for a certain type of player in that left?
Well, I think everybody, you want talented and physical and big and hard, and I mean, who's not looking for those types of defensemen? So, I think that at the end of the day, we were looking for a guy that could be in the top six. Obviously, he played last year, 13 or 14 playoff games. He's been stretches this year. He's been in the first pair with Petrie and had matchups against the other team's first line. So, he comes in and he can play. I think he could play anywhere from in the top four to the third pair. So I think he gives us versatility, and again, he's mobile. He's got good size, and we want to get the puck moving forward. Good. Okay, thanks.
Well, it's a pair of deadline deals for Ken Holland and the Edmonton Oilers, as I'm pleased to welcome in Jack Michaels and Bob Stauffer for the panel presented by Sportsnet. Jack, Bob, the Oilers shoring up the defense a little bit with their first transaction of the day, bringing in Brett Kulak from the Montreal Canadiens in exchange for a conditional second-round pick, a seventh-round pick, and defenseman William Lagesson. Obviously, Lagesson and the seventh-round pick, I should say, was a sweetener. Lagesson goes the other way, body in, body out. But, Bob, why was Edmonton willing to give up a second?
Well, first of all, the team, put themselves in a position where the expectation should be that management should address and add at that point. I mean, and I do think you have to factor in the Evander Kane edition, 23, 24 games ago, into the equation in terms of trying to build a better roster overall. But, you go on a 5 for 5 on a homestand, you're successful, you're winning games, you're finding ways to get positive results. And if you're a player, right, you're sitting there and you're probably thinking to yourself, I'm not really worried about a second or a fourth or seventh round draft choice. Find a way to help improve us and add a little bit of depth. And I mean, Tony, you know the game. Like the Oilers they're headed to the playoffs. They're going to need defensemen in the playoffs. The Buffalo Sabres lost to Carolina in the Eastern Conference in 2006 because they ran out of defensemen. So Brett Kulak's going to be a guy that is, he's going to be playing in the top 6 for the Edmonton Oilers. It creates, obviously more depth in that spot. And the fact that the Montreal Canadiens ate half the salary enabled Ken Holland to make a subsequent move to ultimately acquire Derick Brassard. So, you know what? I think we should have expected some movement based upon how the teams played and positioned themselves here. And they've added a little bit of depth, though they didn't have a lot of cap space.
Well, and it goes deeper than just a 5-game winning streak, which, by the way, is the second already for Jay Woodcroft, so he's off to a great start. But if you go a little bit deeper than that, the last 26 games, since that slump where they lost 13 out of 15 to tumble out of a playoff spot temporarily, they've gone 17-7-2. So it's been an extended run of excellence. And I think even if they didn't win all 5 at home, there would have been additions. The key that Bob said is the second acquisition in my mind. I mean, Brett Kulak's a nice addition. He played with Romanov, and at times Jeff Petrie in Montreal's top 4. So he has experience and was part of that playoff run where Montreal went all the way to the Stanley Cup final. But there's a reason they call him Big Game Brass. I mean, as recently as the bubble, less than 2 years ago, he was a significant contributor on an Islanders club that went all the way to the conference final. And he's been in 3 other conference finals and a Stanley Cup final, and he scored 25 goals in the playoffs, and he can play center and wing, and he can move up and down your lineup, and he's an excellent face-off man. So there's a lot of reasons to be excited about that second move, which I believe was kind of less anticipated, and that's where Bob's point about the wrinkle involving the salary is so crucial, because it did enable the Oilers to go out and get a second guy who has valuable postseason experience with a plethora of responsibilities across the board throughout his career. And he's not ancient. I mean, he's 34. And again, his recency in terms of playoff success is as recently as the bubble. So this is not some codger from 7 or 8 years ago that's being brought in for one last shot at glory.
Yeah, Derick Brassard traded for a 2023 fourth-round pick. And just to clarify on the salary structure, obviously both players retained 50% by the team they were traded by. And Ken Holland mentioned in his media availability here that the team is only about $610,000 closer to the cap by acquiring these 2 players. Obviously some tight movement for a team that's tight up against the cap and also very tight in the playoff race as well. Going back to Brassard, though, the versatility, Bob, that's probably the most attractive thing about Brassard.
Well, I mean, he can, he's played a lot of center. Now, this year he's played a lot in left wing in Philadelphia. Now, Flyers, when they have all their guys going, we're a deep team at center. Ironically enough, the last 4 years, Brassard's improved in the face-off circle. He was never really a great face-off guy, but he's been above 50% on draws. He's a left shot, and because of the Josh Archibald situation, like the reality is Josh Archibald's a good player, but as it stands right now, unless Canada changes their rules as a country, he's not eligible to fly. And so the Oilers needed a little bit more depth there, and whether or not, I could see, in theory, Derick Brassard playing all over the lineup. I think Jack probably like right now you look at it, you go, okay, well, maybe he's going to play fourth line left wing some games. Maybe even plays third line left wing if somebody gets nicked up front or not going. We know Ryan McLeod can move up a bit. He's had some success in the top six. But I mentioned Kane for a reason, because to me the additions of Hyman and Kane, and we found out today that Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is expected back Thursday, the Oilers are way deeper up front than they've been. As much as they've been driven over the last 3 or 4 years by Connor and Leon, the reality of the situation is those guys would be super happy that they've got greater support around them and experience as well, Jack. And so, I think Brassard's coming into almost a perfect situation. And I will mention this. The Oilers were in on Derick Brassard a couple of years ago. I know that George LaRocque had reached out to me and told me, you guys are getting him. And I was like, well, we'll wait and see. And he ultimately signed with the New York Islanders. So good addition and good combination of additions relative to the amount of space. But you got to factor in the previous move during the season with Evander Kane.
Jack, he mentioned Ryan Nugent-Hopkins coming back later this week. When this team has been healthy, they've been able to go pound for pound with the best in the National Hockey League. With these two additions, how do you see this full, healthy roster stack up down the stretch?
Well, I think especially in the Western Conference, it's kind of wide open, and especially when you consider Edmonton's record within the conference, within the division, 13-4 inside the Pacific, 21-10-1 inside the Western Conference. They've been in that upper echelon of Western Conference teams inside the conference all year long, and now having finally gotten healthy and basically adding a player per game the last couple of weeks, they've rattled off 5 in a row against Eastern Conference opposition, against whom they had trouble earlier this season. So the bottom line is Edmonton is in a cluster. I don't think you can make the Oilers the odds-on favorite, but I feel like by the end of tonight, Edmonton may very well be in a tie for second place in the Pacific Division. And this was a club, again, as recently as a few weeks ago, out of a playoff position altogether. So that's how tightly bunched the Western Conference is. This does not stamp Edmonton's ticket to the postseason, but it does indicate that the Oilers feel they have as legitimate a shot as anyone in the Western Conference. And I think outside of the team that Edmonton is playing tonight, there has been no clear front runner established over the balance of this season in the West. It's wide open. And so Ken Holland has taken the opportunity to try to go get it.
2 weeks ago tonight, Edmonton went into Calgary, and they played as well as they could have. But they had 6 guys out of that game. And with Nugent-Hopkins on Saturday night, they're going to have 7 guys available to them on the 26th that they didn't have for that first game in Calgary. That's your prime illustration, not to mention the potential additions of Kulak and Brassard. They're going to have a completely different lineup going in against the Flames. And if they match the work rate and effort that they showed that night in Calgary, they'll probably get a pretty positive result.
The Oilers are 2 points back of the LA Kings as it sits right now with 2 games in hand. Obviously, a big matchup tonight here in Denver, Colorado against the league's best Colorado Avalanche to kick off a 2-game road trip. For Jack Bob, I'm Tony Barr signing off for the panel presented by Sportsnet.
6:30 chat. Go ahead, Reed.
Thanks, Sean. Hey, Brett, welcome to the Oilers. I'm going to start with a real softball for clarity's sake. Do we say your hometown is Edmonton or Stony Plain?
My hometown's Stony Plain. Yeah, I grew up just outside of Stony Plain.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Obviously kind of a topsy-turvy last 12 months or so for the Canadians. Just tell us about how the last couple of days have gone. Did you expect something was happening? And then ultimately a couple of thoughts on the destination being the Oilers. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind for sure. This being my first year of UFA eligibility, first time in a situation like this, coming to a deadline. I went through a couple deadlines where, you never know if you could get traded or not, but it's usually not as likely as it is when you're a UFA. So the last couple days have been a little nerve wracking, and I'm excited. The time has kind of come and gone, and now I have some clarity of where I'll be and where to kind of put my focus for the remainder of the season. And just when we talk about my hometown being so close to Edmonton, and I'm very excited to be an Oiler.
Okay, next question, Daniel Nugent-Bowman, The Athletic.
Hi, I'm just curious about you getting a chance to play against the Oilers so much last year. What did you learn from this team, and what do you think you can kind of add to the group that you played so many times? I
think I like the style of the game they play. They play quick. They're quick on pucks, and when they force turnovers, they transition and they get on the offense. And when the puck's in their stick, their mindset is we're going to score a goal. And I think that's important, and that's what I'm really excited about joining. We started to create that here the last 5 weeks with the new coach and stuff, and he kind of shifted our minds all to that way. And I think that's the way the Oilers have been playing, watching them, playing against them. And I think I should fit in there really well.
And what do you think about coming home, so to speak? Ken Holland was just saying that you called your dad. He was on the tractor and all excited and stuff. Sometimes maybe it's a little daunting to come home, but what do you think about those prospects?
I'm really excited. It gives my parents an opportunity to come in and watch lots of games live. And just talking to my dad earlier, he was a little emotional, and it kind of, that's the team I grew up as a kid idolizing and talking about and wanting to watch all the time. And so I think now to be a part of that team, it's, I think my dad was really happy, and I think they're looking forward to me coming closer to home and getting to see them a little more. It's been a long time since I've spent much time at home. So they're, the whole family is really happy.
Next question, Mark Spector, Sportsnet. Go ahead, Mark.
How are you, Brett?
I'm doing good.
Good. I guess I'd further that last question. Like, sometimes when a guy gets drafted by his hometown team, it's a lot. When you're a young player playing in home, and the uniform and all that can be a lot to handle. Is it easier, you think, for you now? Is it a better situation to come home now that you're a veteran and you've been around and you kind of know how things work?
I think so. Yeah. I've started my career in Calgary, and even the past couple of years we've played in Edmonton and against them so much. I've kind of been through those games where you get the little jitters because you got a ton of family and everything in the crowd, and you want to do well for them, and everyone's watching or whatever. But I think I've been through enough of those. Now it's just like you see it in a different picture. You kind of relish the moment and you enjoy it, and it gives you a little extra boost in your game, and it feels really good.
Now, where have you found, yourself as a player? Like, a guy at 28 is never the same player he was when he was certainly 22. You come here and you probably play the left side with maybe a more offensive guy on the right side, a guy that likes to take the puck and go a little. Is that a role that works for you? What, I guess tell us what kind of defenseman you're going to be here.
Yeah, I think of myself as a two-way defenseman always, and at different stages of my career, maybe sometimes I've been more defensive. Sometimes it's had opportunity to be a little more offensive, just the way the games are going. But I think I've settled in now, and I think I can bring some to the table on both sides. And if I get played with a partner who's a little more offensive, I always take pride in being a good D partner. So whatever he likes to do, I try to accommodate my partner's strengths and try to be a good partner for him, and be very supportive out there on the ice, and just come ready to play for him.
Last one for me. Tell us about that conversation with your dad, Gil, when you phoned him and told him you're coming home to play for the Oilers. You say he was on the tractor. Can you let us in a little bit on how that all went?
Yeah, he was in the cab of either tractor or green truck or something, but he was working away and he paused work, and he said his phone was vibrating with my mom texting him, but it was soon after, I got off the phone and found out I had been traded to the Oilers. And so yeah, we had a good little chat, and it was kind of a bit surreal for him, I think, but at his older age, he's getting a little emotional at times, and his eyes like to get a little watery more often. And yeah, he was happy, and I think he's excited for what's to come in the next, finish up the regular season and head into the postseason.
All right. Thanks a lot. See you tomorrow.
Yeah. Sounds good. See ya.
Reed. Go ahead, Reed.
Yeah, thanks. Just, I guess, more housekeeping for me. What are your plans here in the next 24 to 48 hours? Like, when do you think you'll make your Oilers debut?
They're still waiting to give me a definitive answer on that, but they said there's a chance I could be joining them down in Dallas tomorrow, or if that doesn't pan out, then it'll be, I think, Thursday. Not confirmed I'll be in the lineup that quick, but they're going to get me at least either into Dallas or Edmonton tomorrow. So,
okay, thank you.
Thank you. If there are no more questions, this concludes Brett Kulak's media availability. Thank you, Brett, and thanks, media. Reed Wilkins, 630 Ched. Go ahead, Reed.
Hi, Derick. Welcome to the Oilers. Well, how are you feeling about this move? Where do you think you'll fit in with the team here, and what do you think you can add?
Yeah, I feel pretty good about this move. I know that the Oilers are playing really well right now. They won 5 straight, and yeah, I think I can bring some experience. I played, I think, 116 or 17 playoff games the last few years, and I'll just try to bring my experience with that. And yeah, I've been playing pretty good. I know that I was hurt for 2 or 3 months this year, but I like the way I was playing, and I'm gonna try to bring it, the same way with the Oilers.
Tell me about that playoff experience. And obviously, the Oilers acquired Duncan Keith in the summer, and his experience was a big part of making that move as well. When you get into those games, and in a sense, there's some pretty tense games right now to clinch a spot. How does that experience help? What do you see yourself doing to maybe help lead a little bit in the postseason?
Yeah, well, I think the first thing we got to do is to get in, right? Like I said, I think our team has been playing pretty good, and we just got to make sure that we keep going in that direction, trying to find a spot in the playoffs. And after that, I think the experience, it's just to be comfortable in every situation. Like you said, at this time of the year, the games are pretty intense. And your season's on the line and everything like that. And I think that's how you, I think as a player, you can take advantage of that. And I think I could be a good fit on that team. They've been, they had Evander probably a month from now, and Brett Kulak a few hours ago. I think the team's in the right direction, and I think we have a chance to win.
And do you know when you're going to play your first game as an Oiler?
I think the plan is for Thursday as right now. I just played 3 games in 3.5 days with the Flyers, basically. We were going on a 10-day road trip, and basically on my way to the airport, I was like leaving my place here. I got a text from the GM, and yeah, I think the plan is the guys are playing tomorrow in Dallas, and I think I'm flying to Edmonton tomorrow.
Thank you.
Next question, Daniel Bowman, The Athletic. Go ahead, Daniel.
Hi, Derick. You're obviously a guy who's played on a few different teams now. I'm just curious how the adjustment changes as you get older, and obviously as you're going to miss a couple games here, so you'll have 18 games. You'll have to hit the ground running. How does it get easier with age, trying to kind of get acclimated to a new team?
Yeah, I think when I was playing for the Rangers, I came really close to win the cup. I think 2 or 3 years, and I've been trying to chase a team, right? So I have a good opportunity to win the Stanley Cup. And I signed with the Flyers this year. I thought we got to have a really good team and have a chance. And like everyone know, I think it's a pretty tough year for the team here in Philly. And now I think I see the opportunity in Edmonton being really good, having probably the 2 of the best players in the world on our team. And but I think we're a complete team. We have 4 lines that can play. We have a really good back end, and our goalie's been doing the job as well. So it's been tough the last few years going from team to team. That's something, obviously at 4 years old, I'm not really looking for that. But at the same time, I'm looking for an opportunity to win. And I think with the Oilers, I'm going to have that chance.
I was going to ask about that because you just saw the Oilers pretty recently, a couple of weeks ago, and I wonder what you maybe saw from that team, even if it was one game, or what you've noticed from afar about them, and how you could maybe fit in to help them kind of get over the top here.
Yeah, they beat us 3-0 when they came here in Philly, and I thought their overall game, defensive game, the way they were playing, they didn't give us much. And I think it was like a difference from when we went to Edmonton early this season. And I've heard only good things about the new coach, and I think the record, it kind of speaks for themselves, winning 5 games in a row and being on the road right now. I think the guys are buying in and in his new system and then the way he's operating things. And it's a tough league. There's a lot of good teams. We saw it today. There's a lot of trades, and every matchup's going to be hard. And I feel confident in our team and our dressing room. We have a lot of experience, and I'm looking forward to coming to Edmonton and play good for the team.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We have no more questions in English. We'll take a couple in French. Patrick Henry, Radio-Canada, go ahead.
Salut Derek, bienvenue à Edmonton. T'approches du 1000 matchs, tu es à 936. Ton rôle a changé au cours des années, surtout depuis tes débuts. Quel rôle tu te vois jouer avec les Oilers? Qu'est-ce que tu peux leur apporter là, d'ici la fin de la saison?
Je me vois comme un attaquant dans le bottom six. Ici, avec les Flyers, quand j'ai signé au début de l'année avec Alain Vigneault, il voulait m'utiliser un peu comme son rover, un peu comme jouer sa 3e ligne ou sa 4e ligne, dépendamment. Puis je suis capable de jouer en avantage numérique. Je suis aussi capable, dépendamment s'il y a des blessures ou des fois, c'est des longues saisons. Des fois, les lignes ne cliquent pas. Donc, ici, j'ai l'opportunité de jouer avec des joueurs qui sont dans le top 6. Puis ça va être à moi de jouer, de bien jouer pour avoir l'opportunité. Mais je me vois comme un attaquant qui va jouer dans le bottom 6, puis essayer d'amener un peu d'offensive, puis essayer d'amener une bonne intensité, puis essayer d'amener la passion que j'ai pour la game. Puis c'est que quand tu rentres dans les séries, je pense que c'est ça qui t'amène. C'est les gars qui jouent avec le plus d'émotion, la passion, le vouloir de gagner la Coupe Stanley. Donc, je vais essayer d'amener ça avec les Oilers.
À quel point tu penses que ton expérience en série a joué dans la décision des Oilers de faire ton acquisition aujourd'hui?
Il faudrait demander à eux autres, mais je pense que c'est pour ça qu'ils m'ont amené. Puis j'ai tout le temps bien joué dans le hockey des séries. Puis je vais essayer d'amener ça. C'est sûr, comme je le disais en anglais, il n'y a pas de match-up facile. C'est toutes des bonnes équipes qui rentrent. Puis j'ai juste hâte d'arriver à Edmonton, puis de rencontrer mes nouveaux coéquipiers, puis de jouer le premier match jeudi. Puis je pense que même samedi, ça va être mon premier taste de la bataille de l'Alberta. Donc, ça devrait être bon.
Good, merci beaucoup.
Merci.
Thank you. If there are no more questions, Derek, this concludes your media availability. Thank you, Derek, for joining us. Thank you, media.
Thank you.